What's up and welcome to My Point of View. I am your fat and opinionated host, and last night, Bryan Kohberger's attorney, or I guess his court-appointed lawyer, he revealed some interesting information to reporters. Now, in my last video, I broke all that information down for you all. You might want to go watch that video, but just to give you an idea of some of the tidbits of information that did get released, we heard a little bit about Bryan Kohberger's interrogation. It turns out that police or law enforcement investigators, whatever you want to call them, they interrogated Bryan for all of about 5 to 15 minutes before he asked for a lawyer. Also, from what Bryan's attorney says, he says he knows nothing about Bryan asking if anyone else was arrested when he was arrested. I know a lot of people have been clinging on to that detail. I understand why, but I don't think we should put too much into it, because this isn't the first time that some psychopath asked that question when he got arrested. And in fact, we see them ask these questions all the time. You want to know who else asked a question similar to this? John Wayne Gacy. And we all know how that turned out, that crazy, fat, freaking clown. But anyways, Bryan Kohberger, he seemed to have this confidence about him. We have his attorney out here saying that Bryan is eager to be exonerated. So I was wondering, I know Bryan's a smart guy. We've dug into his past. We've heard from his teachers. He was one of the best students studying criminology and how the criminal mind works. So I wondered how confident he would be once he was behind bars. Once the reality set in that he isn't as smart as he thought he was. Once that reality hits you that, all of that education, all of that studying for nothing, because I winded up right here behind bars. So I was wondering how he would be acting in the jail. Is he going to have this confidence about him like he's innocent? Or is he going to freak out? Because people like this, they are not built for jail. They'll carry out all types of crazy crimes and do crazy things. But once they get locked up, they turn into little bitchs. Like I can guarantee you, the folks in prison are going to railroad the hell out of this guy, so he better watch out. But it turns out that a reporter has been chilling outside of the jail where Bryan is being held, and he actually got to talk to some of the security guards who are watching Bryan, and he revealed some interesting information that I want you all to hear. So without further ado, let's go ahead and watch that clip, then I'll be right back with my thoughts.
Now, we did learn from some reporting from CNN that the attorneys do want a psych evaluation done before things move forward in Idaho. Staying on top of that for you, but I also will be in court tomorrow looking to continue to collect the very latest for you and everyone back at home right now in Moscow as we work through this process. Reporting live in Pennsylvania, I'm Bradley Warren, Nonstop Local.
All right, Bradley, before you go here, I understand, too, you've been able to speak with the people guarding Kohberger right now in that jailhouse behind you. What are they telling you right now?
Yeah, well, I spoke with one yesterday, one of the guards. I spoke to a couple of the guards, to be honest with you, and one of them told me that he's curled up in a ball, facing the wall, and he's not saying anything at all. So that's the current status of him. I haven't heard anything since that conversation took place yesterday, but that gives you a little bit of insight as to how he's handling all of this.
And it's just as I suspected. Bryan is curled up in a ball. From what I hear from other reports, he's on the floor. He's not even on his cot. He's curled up in a ball on the floor, staring at the wall, not talking to anyone. He's pouting that he got caught. He's angry that he got caught. I doubt for 1 second that he's remorseful about what he did. If anything, Bryan is probably beating himself up right now because he got caught. He's probably going over, where did I go wrong? Because we know he's obsessed with stuff like that. We know that he's obsessed with serial killers and crime scenes. He's obsessed with how the criminal mind works. So you bet your ass he's sitting there, beating himself up, lost in his own mind, trapped in his own thoughts, wondering, where did he slip up? I'm going to tell you right now that if I got arrested for killing 4 people that I had nothing to do with and I was innocent, I'm not going to be curled up in a ball. I'm going to be raising hell. You better hope to God that you got a straitjacket big enough to fit my big ass, because I would be wreaking havoc behind bars if I was innocent and y'all brought me in for some stuff like this. But Bryan, he shriveled and curled up. And he's now reflecting inwardly. And I guarantee you, he is trapped in his thoughts, wondering, where did I go wrong? Students who went to school with Bryan said Bryan had this weird thing about him. If he explained something to you, he had to use the biggest words possible. He always had to try to sound as smart as possible. Because I believe, and I don't know Bryan, I believe Bryan was probably had some self-confidence issues. You know, I believe Bryan probably had a low self-esteem. So in order to compensate for that, Bryan would try to appear as smart as he possibly could. And I'm not saying that Bryan was dumb. I do think that Bryan was smart. Just not smart enough, Bryan, because they got your bitch ass. But seriously, they would talk about how Bryan just needed to, I don't want to say assert his dominance, because that would be the wrong way, but he needed to assert his mental dominance. He needed you to know that he was smart. He needed you to know that he was one of the brightest people in class. He needed you to listen to his ideas about what was happening at this crime scene or this crime scene when they would study crime scenes in class. Like, he was very, very particular about making sure that people knew he was smart. And from what the student said, like, you could ask him a random question and the way he answered it would just be almost sickening, because he just felt the need to make you know that he was smart when he would answer your questions. Like, hey, what did you get for lunch today, Bryan? Well, technically, I got the, you know what I mean? Like, those type of people. You've met those type of people before. I hate those type of people. And that's why a lot of people probably hated Bryan. But what else can I say? I mean, it's just as I suspected. Once this dude is caught behind bars, he's no longer this big and bad evil criminal. Knowing that he went back to class after he allegedly did what he did, and he had this new confidence about him, I can guarantee you it made him feel powerful. What he did made him feel powerful. He probably felt a power that he had never felt in his life, because he's a freaking lonely, sick, weirdo dweeb. And doing what he did, it made him feel like for once he was in control of something. For once he was powerful. For once he had some type of power. And now look at him, reduced to a curled up human piece of garbage, laying on a prison floor, staring at a blank wall, wondering where he went wrong. Now, let me know your thoughts about all of this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell so you can be notified of all of the updates that are going to be coming out about Bryan Kohberger, because I am working all day and night to bring you these updates. But always remember, remain opinionated.